Hello, my delicious co-creators. Lilou here. I'm in beautiful, sunny London. A little bit chilly here in winter with Rebecca. Hello.
Hello, Lilou. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. How are you doing?
I'm great.
Yes.
Yep, really excited.
You must be really excited. Rebecca just signed a deal with A House, which is a major publishing company, and your book is coming out in July 2015. Light is the New Black. I love the title. You must be thrilled.
Yeah, I am. It's a real dream come true. Yep.
Yeah. So we're going to speak of the light and shining our inner light. It's definitely something that is so meaningful, especially now. How did you feel this calling to write this book?
Well, I think I heard the calling when I was quite young, but I didn't really have the courage and the self-belief to do it. A journey needed to be lived, I think. So, yeah, and for me it was...
Born in Australia?
Born in Australia, yep. And when I was 14, that's when I had my first awakening. And I remember pulling my first Hay House book off the shelf, as well as others, and just kind of knowing deep down that this was my bigger calling in life.
So your parents were already tuned in, or you found that in a library? Or?
Yeah, no, I found it on my own. Yeah, which I think is probably why I ended up going into a bit of a spiritual closet when I was younger, because I didn't really have anyone in my life who had walked that path before. And so I was like an undercover light worker. And I'd get off the bus after school, and I'd get home and I'd get my books out on, past lives and anything to do with the journey of the soul, and then I'd start writing and creating, but I didn't show anyone that.
Yeah. So how come you went into this whole advertising career and didn't choose right away? I mean, I guess there was self-confidence there that was needed to be here.
I think it's self-confidence, and I think also being in advertising was actually a really big part of my journey, because it really helps me now. I went into advertising as, like I said, an undercover light worker, where I saw it as an opportunity to really put positive messages out there with the world, because I was working for brands where they'd have millions and millions pounds, dollars budget, where I could put positive energy into it. But as the years went on, it got evident that my soul was calling me in a different direction. But actually...
How did you know that? Because it's interesting for other co-creators watching this, and that might be in the same scenario that you were at years ago.
Well, I'd always had an avid spiritual practice, and so I meditated. So meditation, that was the biggest one. It was I just kind of knew it was that inner voice that knew, but I didn't want to believe it because I'd put so much effort into my life in very consciously creating my career and moving over to London and being like, I want to be a creative director in advertising and networking and all of that. And then finally I get there, everything I'd worked so hard to do, but I was in my masculine because I was striving and I was pushing, I was trying to make things happen. And so letting go of everything that I'd consciously created was really difficult. And for me, then came I used to wake up at 3:13 every night in the morning, and just kind of in that a bit of a panic attack state, just knowing that the life I was living was not the one I was meant to live, and that I needed to make changes. And that was really scary to do, because, and so I would get down on my knees and just pray, because I didn't really have the courage to get myself out of there. And then what happened was the universe ended up turning off all the lights around me, so I had no choice but to follow my own. And
what do you mean by turning off the lights? What did it look like?
So it was a crumbling of my life. So I was in a long-term relationship, so 10, 11 years, to my whole adult life. That ended. One of my best friends, who was the only person who really saw the complete whole 360 six-dimensional me, he passed away extremely suddenly. And that was, when that happened, it was like everything was ripped under me, like that rug from beneath my feet. And it was, I dealt with death before, but this was so different. And it was like, I now know that was always meant to happen for me. And losing him was the thing that was, there is the heart cracked open, and then there's the soul cracked open. And I think when you're... Yeah, it's like, because, we've all had heartbreak, right? And I think a lot of us, particularly now, are having soul break, where it's like we can't help but just surrender. Because I think when your heart breaks, your soul comes through. But when your soul breaks, it's like that's when spirit can come through. But in order for it to come through, you literally have to go, okay, I surrender. Yeah.
It's a big one.
Yeah.
We're not used to that, especially the woman that made it happen.
Exactly. I know. What?
The guys. Same thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's that relying on your own strength thing, isn't it?
And so that inner light where that you talk about in your book, where is that related to that opening of the heart and cracking open the heart and cracking open the soul? And is that light even deeper?
Yeah, I kind of see the inner light being like spirit, right? So, or source. And so we have our heart, which is with us through our lives, and then our soul, which is the part of us that travels. It's our ancient self. It's the self that we've been evolving and working on. It's that beautiful piece of art, that essence. Like you've got just the most beautiful, vibrant, exuberant soul, you know, where you're just like bursting with energy. I love you so much.
Thank you.
And then I think when our soul cracks open, that's where pure light can come in, pure spirit, pure source, pure guidance. Yeah. But, you know, at the end of the day, our knowing is deepening in every moment. And so I'm willing to be surprised that there's even deeper layers to that, you know? Yeah.
But so the light is like life. So it's this life force is what some call the chi, or it's this, right? Can we say that? Does it have information in it?
Yeah, I think it's got everything and nothing altogether. Yeah.
What kind of information? Is our soul purpose there? Do we even have to figure this out? Does it just then flow through us if we just allow that light to shine? What is your understanding? And I guess it's still unfolding for you, and that's what's beautiful.
That's a really cool question. I feel like the soul, call it source, because source or light, that's the same thing. I feel like our soul's always calling us in the direction to source. Right? And so this whole thing of like, what's my life purpose? Like that
a big one.
Oh my God. I hate that question, because that's the question which stopped me acting on my callings. Because, and I think so many people are like this, where it's like, you know, I remember being a young girl and knowing I'm here for a reason. I wonder if you can relate to this, of just like, there's something I'm here to do and I just got to do it, and come on, when's it going to happen? And what is it? What's the answer? What's the answer? What's the job? But it's like Yogi Bhajan said, be the light, not do the light. Yeah. And I spent a lot of my life doing the light, or trying to find the light to do. You know, oh, is it advertising? Oh, is it a director? Oh, is it interviewing people? Like, it's a writer. What is
giving?
Yeah, exactly. Whereas when what feels true to me and what has worked best in my life is when I tune into source. And my favorite meditation is called sourcing, where I literally connect to that. I love it. Bring it on! Let's live there. Yeah. Yeah. And so, oh, now I'm losing my train of thought.
It's good.
We're just lost in the source.
Just in the source. Exactly. Okay, this is the end of this interview.
But yeah, when we kind of like get into, like, allow ourselves to connect into that, I think it's really easier to hear the little calls of our soul rather than this big one. And so it's, our soul's always calling us in that direction. And so if we just say yes to all the little calls, whatever they are, and especially if they don't make sense, because that's your intuition, right? Because it doesn't make logical sense, then all of a sudden we end up in this space where we're like, oh God, I think I'm in my calling or my purpose. Yeah.
So it's really I like to say, like, saying yes to real yeses, you know, and not, sometimes we say yes but we don't really want to. Light is not really there, is there?
Yes.
I mean, it is, but not
big yes.
Big yeses. And so how do you explain that in the book? I mean, how do you put all of this in writing? Because it's quite a big and beautiful topic, and yet I feel you're very you're intuitive and in tuned. So it's quite something to put it together.
Well, in a nutshell, all I'm really doing is facilitating a connection from the reader to their own soul and their own connection with source. And so that really guides it. But, you know, in practical terms, there's 4 sections. The first one is Turn Your Light On, which is about coming back home to who you really are and connecting to that divine being that you are, you know, remembering that. And then the second bit is Work Your Light, which is a bit more into like, you know, what lights you up? Like what do you love doing? What are you passionate about? What is your weirdness? Like what are your contradictions, you know? And then the third bit is Living in the Light. So it's practical tools so you can tune in and literally turn your light on every single day. Because I think, you know, particularly if you have a bad day, they're the days that you actually need to connect with source the most. And then finally it's Be the Light, which is really drawing on my advertising career. Oh wow, there was a reason for that. Where it's really helping. So I've helped like loads of big brands get back home to who they really are and find their authentic voice. And so that last section is that. And the wonderful thing about us as humans is that we have what brands dream of having, which is a unique spirit, right? And so I kind of say, let your spirit be your brand. And so there's just like loads of practical exercises which help you tap back into that. And so, yeah, like choosing your own theme song and yeah, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Or dancing in the living room.
You got to.
Yes. And so meditation, I mean, what are your daily practices? What do you do? Something you do?
Yeah, so I do sourcing, so I call it light sourcing, which is basically, it's just putting you into that zone. So I start by rubbing my hands together, which activates your heart chakra because your palms are extensions of that. Then putting your hands palm up in receiving mode. And then I put on one of my favorite tracks, which like I love Baird Tracy and Krishna Das and Guru Nam Singh, all of those kind of really devotional singers who just kind of like tap you in there. And then it's just a matter of breathing and receiving. So imagine a big ball of light up in the universe. So like the universal limitless source energy, chi, whatever you want to call it. And I imagine a channel of light coming straight down in through the crown of my head and then hitting my heart. And then I'm pretty much in surrender mode. So I'm filling myself up with anything that I need and allowing the universe to flow through me and my light to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's kind of the ultimate, because for me, like I said, it's like I want to be in my feminine, in the flow, in receiving, because I've got a pattern of being the pusher and the one who makes stuff happen, right? And sourcing is such a wonderful, wonderful form of practice because it allows you to just kind of like sit back and receive life. Yeah.
How do you get things done though? I guess you still, did you find your balance in between setting goals and being a target machine, wanting this to happen like the masculine way, and also the receiving? Is there some things that you do? Do you feel like you're still want to influence, like, we spoke years ago about the law of attraction. Is there still some of that in, or you just whatever comes along is wonderful?
Oh, right. Good question. You're such a good question asker.
I know everything about you. I'm getting in your world.
That's really cool. So for me, what switched it is, well, two things actually. One is changing the perception of me being a hard worker, which I definitely had a soul pattern of like, it's good to be the one in the front lines and, battling ahead and all of that. So I changed that to being disciplined. So being kind of like a warrior of light. And then from there goes to the second bit is just kind of like starting my day with devotion of like, how can I be of service? Right. And so then I can be the hard worker who shows up, but not the one who needs to. So if I
do everything.
Exactly. Yeah. So if I've got my path, I don't need to build my path because the path is already there. And so I just have to trust that each brick is being laid ahead of me. And my only job is to say yes and take a step and take a step. And I must say, since I've switched my outlook and view on that, I'm just like blown away by the universe really does want to support us. You must find this, right?
Yeah, I'm blown away all the time. The more I let life do its job, the best.
Oh, it amazes me. Yeah.
Did you had a challenge receiving? Because a lot of us have this challenge, there's beautiful things coming along and then there's this old sabotaging coming, or just just it could be scary. I was speaking yesterday with Jolene about that, like how we have fear of receiving.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think like when I was younger, most of my relationships were built on me being the giver. But it wasn't like, oh, look at me, I'm giving. It's like I actually received by doing that, received my value. And so then, you know, you have to kind of come back in and go, okay, well, I'm clearly looking outside of myself in order to feel love or feel confident or feel like I belong. So, yeah.
It's a journey.
Oh, yeah, every day.
You're quite on a journey now with a house. You're going to tour and do conferences, and this is quite a whole new chapter.
Absolutely. I'm really excited. Yeah. I'm a little bit scared, but in a good way. Fear is excitement, right?
Getting outside of the comfort zone. I guess life wants us to explore more.
Exactly. It's like, you know, well, Sonia says that, doesn't she? It's like, you know, if you're not uncomfortable, you're not learning and you're not growing and you're not expanding. So I think, you know, fear is actually a really good sign that you're on the right track. Yeah. Yep.
So light is the new black, the title. Again, this is the new trend. This is the new thing. I feel there's a lot of us that just want to bring this as you know, as normal. Like as normal, as cool, as hip, as fun, as yeah, that makes sense. Why stay in our old pattern?
Absolutely. And I think that's exactly it. The essence that you've just picked up there. It's kind of like, you know, everyone's been rising up for centuries and years, you know, but now it feels like there is this real rise and there is this, it's like, you know, I think the universe is doing its thing and kind of pulling the rug out of things that are inauthentic and aren't an expression of our highest divine truth. And so, you know, so many of us light workers who maybe have been in a bit of a spiritual closet and kind of like just going to the events, but not actually bringing it into their normal life in a grounded, normal way. Yeah. That's going to change. And yeah, and now
it's time.
Yeah, well, it's like the Dalai Lama said that the world will be saved by the Western woman, which I love. That's it. Woo. But I think with that, it's like it's not just about women, like it's like men as well, right? But it's the rising feminine. Yeah. Right. But, you know, you only have to go to a Hay House event or any kind of like big event and it's just packed with ladies.
But the guys are showing up on.
They are.
On the internet, I can tell that a lot of you guys are watching.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this is happening. The shift is happening.
It's happening right here.
And I just enjoy very much this conversation and love sharing this wisdom. And your energy is bubbly, is awesome. I love it. I feel like I just met a soul sister.
Me too.
So thank you so much. And I wish you amazing success with all your projects.
Thank you so much, Lilou. Thank you, everyone.
Big kisses to all of you guys. We love you from crazy, now cold London, not sunny anymore, soon raining. Big kiss. Bye.